Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Okay, hello everyone and welcome to episode 52 of the International Pentagon Challenge. So here we are, trying to conquer Africa with Egypt, and last episode was of course a little bit disappointing. A little bit is probably a bit of an understatement, especially how we conceded some of the goals, but we lost 4-3 to Mali in what was an incredibly unfortunate game for us, I think. Yeah, if you've not seen that episode, go back and see it. Not great, but obviously not the end of the world because, as you can probably tell, we've already qualified for the African Cup of Nations anyways. I'm not really sure whether finishing in first or second place will play a part in our seeding going into the actual African Cup of Nations, but to be fair, when you're Egypt, it probably won't make that much of a difference because even if you kind of get matched against a better side in your group because of the seeding, if there is that kind of seeding present, you're still going to be able to give them a good game anyways. Unfortunately for us, Mali have also slipped up by drawing 2-2 against Mauritania away from home. So yes, you know, we played the same amount of games and they've still got an extra point to us, but we've only really lost against them. If you get where I'm trying to come from, we've not really slipped up against the smaller side. So as long as we can get either a draw or win against them at home, which I'm pretty sure we will be able to, we should be able to leapfrog them and sit top of the group. And those games were pretty straightforward. A 2-0 win against Uganda, a 1-0 win against Uganda. Now you look at them results and you kind of think, well, they're not really great results against Uganda, but honestly, the performance-wise, we completely dominated both games. We were unfortunate to go down to 10 men when Mohamed Hussein got sent off there at home. What was important was we still managed to get the win, got it over the line. 6-0 win against Mauritania, 4-0 win against Mauritania. You know, we put 10 goals past Mauritania, and when Mali draw 2-2 against them, it goes to show we are better than Mali. We saw that in our performance against Mali. We were just incredibly unfortunate with how they scored some of their goals. Yeah, we played Jordan in a local friendly, won that 7-2. I mean, I was expecting to win, but I wasn't expecting to win by so many goals. What was great as well was, I think they pulled it back to like 4-1 or 4-2 at one point in the 89th minute, and we just then decided, all right, you fancy late goals, do you? We'll score 2 of our own. And we went and made it 7-2. We then beat Algeria. Now, this was a really interesting friendly for me because Algeria are another kind of one of them top sides in Africa. And Egypt and Algeria is always a bit of a rivalry because they're kind of like the 2 best Arab African teams, so it's always a massive game, and for us to be able to win that one 4-1, and we know how good Algeria are on this because we faced them before, and we know the kind of talent that Algeria produce in general, so a 4-1 win was really quite amazing for us. In terms of other updates, there isn't really much other than that Mohamed Abdelraouf, you probably remember this guy, right back or left back, we play him at right back as an inverted wing back to fit him in. Was playing for Liverpool, and he got basically a massive transfer to Barcelona, which is pretty cool for him. Not quite sure it's the right move for him in terms of, you know, his career, but it's what he wanted, and 55 million quid. So yeah, we've got a Barcelona player, and deep down I hope this isn't a sign that Mohamed Salah is going to leave Liverpool to Barcelona in real life, because even though I feel like his play style would really suit the current kind of Barcelona side, I kind of hope he either stays at Liverpool and goes on to better things with Liverpool, if that's even possible, because Liverpool in recent years just almost seemed jinxed. I mean, the one chance they had to win the title out of all the players that could have slipped up, it was Steven Gerrard. yeah, I'd rather he went to Real Madrid if Mohamed Salah was going to go to Spain, just because I'm a bit of a closet Real Madrid fan. But anyways, that is really it in terms of updates. Obviously, we're going to be playing Burkina Faso in our first World Cup qualification game. And the World Cup qualifiers are always difficult. We have a tough group because only one team at top of each group can qualify. So I don't really expect Burkina Faso to be our main opposition in terms of finishing top of the group. I believe it's going to be Cameroon, but none of these teams in this group are going to be easy, so we need to try and make sure we can pick up as many points as possible. In terms of our scouting report towards Burkina Faso, Hassan Bande is a lad you might know from real life, plays for Freiburg, currently in the game. He played for Burnley, even more of an incentive to want to beat him. And yeah, I believe we played against him when I was managing the DR Congo under-21s. But anyways, they seem to play pretty deep, 4-5-1, play on the counter-attack, big target man up front. We've got some notes in terms of how we're going to try and counteract them. So, yeah, let's go into that. Okay, so just before we make our small tactical tweaks, 4-5-1 coming out from Burkina Faso, which is really what we prepared for. For us, Mahmoud will move out towards the left wing because our main left winger isn't available. Obviously, sometimes I play Ramadan in the role just off the striker where I feel like we'd benefit from playing someone in that kind of position. But I'd rather have a wide man against this kind of packed midfield because I feel like if we had that kind of attacking midfielder, he would eventually get overrun due to the sheer number of players they've got. I usually find that it works well against a 4-4-2 to have that lad just between the lines who also man marks and drifts out wide defensively. I love how it looks like basically him, and him, like those three players all have the same face. It's just a different hairstyle. Like, I don't understand how we're FM18 and regen faces are still so bad. Right, okay. Yeah, that's why I put real faces on my regens. But anyways, on to tactics. Okay, so as we saw, they're playing kind of their danger man is Hassan Bande, and he's playing out on the left, but he's right-only footed, so he's going to be cutting inside. I think really that's going to suit us because we've got Abdurraouf, who's kind of like an inverted wing-back anyway, so he's going to be covering that central space, and we've got a ball-winning midfielder playing just in front of the back four that again should occupy that space, so it's not really the end of the world. We'll make sure our wingers are man-marking their wingers, and they're very, very good in the air, so made some small tweaks just to go for shorter passing ourselves. And we're playing with a high line simply because, yes, Hassan Bande is fast, but he's inverted. So, like, given that they're playing with a target man up front, I think we can afford to really, push up, get in their faces, constrict the space that they've got. It's going to make the direct counter-attacking game they want to play to the target man a lot more difficult. So, yeah, that's what we're going to go with. Here we go then. Away from home. Away games are never really easy, but hopefully the quality that we possess will really make a difference come the end of the game. Just switched to comprehensive there. So Saeed's goals have dried up. He's been... oh, wow, hit the ball. He's, been our kind of main source of goals in the build-up to this game, but... they've kind of gone, straight to the hands of the goalkeeper. Should have scored there. But yeah, right up until the past two games. And then that lad who plays for Schalke. I'm not sure if he still plays for Schalke. I forgot his name. We got him involved and started playing him as kind of like an inside forward out on the left. So really, we were playing a 4-1-4-1, but it was really more of a 4-4-2. Oh, that's a great ball, that. Great save. Got to be careful. Bit of pace on him. We've not quite created as many chances as really, ideally, I would like us to create. And that's an incredibly poor shot from Mahmoud. And I think it's understandable, given that he took it first time on his right foot and the guy's left-footed. Tel Sayed looks to whip the ball in, but no one's quite there. And we win a corner. Hussein is looking a little bit isolated up front on his own. That could be something we look to switch around at half time. We've had a lot of shots from kind of like, outside the area, but we've not really created anything clear cut. And against a team like Burkina Faso, in an important game like this, we need to we need to be willing to change things around, even if it's more of a smash and grab where we start the second half with 2 strikers or something slightly more offensive. Grab a goal and then go back to this kind of approach where, to be fair, we have been dominating the majority of the game. It's just been in that final third we've not been able to finish anything off. Come on, second balls, boys. Shauki to Mahmoud, who once again tries to cross the ball into the box, and it's just not quite materialising for us right now. Another cross aside with the header, and finally he finds the back of the net. So it's been a bit quiet for Egypt recently, like I said, but good to see him, grab that goal. I think going into the second half, though, one thing we might look to do, depending on kind of how our crossing game starts to look in the second half, because now Burkina Faso need to start throwing more men forward, and that could actually favour us because it means that they are open to be counter-attacked, basically, and that's one thing we're set up to do and are very good at doing, is maybe go to kind of lower crosses, because like I said earlier on, in the build-up to this, Burkina Faso are a much bigger side than we are, much better in the air than we are. But generally speaking, they've had the odd chance here and there, but we've had a good game. It's important that we make sure the lads stay focused and keep their heads in the game going into the second half. So, guard against complacency. What do we want to change? There were at times where we did look, I think we'll drop our defensive line a little bit. We did look a little bit wider than I may have liked. So we'll go a little bit more narrow and tell them to stop being as expressive as before. Now, I've been telling them to exploit the right flank because most of Burkina Faso's goals that they've kind of conceded have been down their left-hand side, but it still kind of seems like we've been creating most of our chances down the left-hand side, probably because the fullback is more adventurous, and I've not got Abdurraouf on attack because obviously Hassan Bande is the type of lad who can, without a shadow of a doubt, cause us plenty of problems. I mean, Kamel's not had the best of games, but he's just a defensive midfielder, so I'm not too bothered about that. I think we'll kick things off by setting Mahmoud to be the more attacking player, and we'll just tone down Siam a little bit as well. Just try and keep that back four intact a little bit more, knowing that Burkina Faso are going to start throwing more men forwards. We can see, though, they're very kind of rigid in how Burkina Faso are playing, and we can find space between the lines if we look for it. That's actually where short passing would probably favour us, take our time, pass and move, good movement off the ball. So we're 60 minutes in, and we're going to... he's going to get red carded, this lad, now. We're going down to 10 men. Oh. Well. That's crap. Okay, this is where I earn my money, I guess. Okay, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. I've got no idea what we're going to do. Okay. Right, so we're going to drop down to more of a standard mentality, increase our width a little bit, and actually now look to exploit both flanks. We'll drop our defensive line a little bit as well, tell the lads to be a little bit more disciplined. I think in general we should be okay. Saeed's going to turn more into a complete forward, just to get him kind of helping out a little bit more. Both fullbacks have dropped down to support, and make sure, of course, that this lad is doing his job in terms of man marking. And hopefully we'll be okay, just on the back of dropping the mentality and stuff. We're already looking to maintain or retain possession. But if it does start to kind of look like Burkina Faso starting to get the men forwards, then we can look to adapt. So, we might be thinking, well, why'd you get rid of the defensive midfielder and go for a left winger? Well, I think it's kind of one of them scenarios where we don't want to really go too defensive. Burkina Faso now, they're going to start throwing men forwards, and by putting on that kind of pacey inside forwards, there we go, out on the left-hand side, it gives us kind of an outlet to get rid with, but also turn defence into attack. So that was really what the doctor ordered there. Great header from the centre mid. And yeah, that was the second goal that we really, really needed. And hopefully we can now just get some of the lads to start getting stuck in. Once again, restrict the Burkina Faso players to shots from a distance, because that's where most of their opportunities have really come from, and really go from there. So Siam, the great ball towards Saeed, and it was a tough angle to try and finish from, unless you're from Mali, which you'll know what I'm on about if you watch the last episode. But yeah, can he whip that ball in? He would have been offside if he'd touched that, wouldn't he? Oh, great. Finish. Oh! He should have finished there. I think we've looked better in the second half with 10 men than we did with 11, to be honest. But there we go. Nice ball out to Sabo. It's actually the first time he plays under my management for the Egyptian national side. Go for a bit of a cheeky concentrate shout. I'm not quite happy with the amount of players, or rather the lack of players we actually left behind the ball from that free kick. We didn't need to really risk that many players going forwards. Nice stuff. It should be a pretty simple cross to El Sayed, and there we go. He came on as a substitute, as an inside forward, playing down that left-hand side, and, well, he's grabbed the goal. So one thing we discussed in the first half is going for drilled crosses, but that's 3 headers we basically scored against them this game, which is really great to see. Not just to know that we have that kind of ability within our own locker, but also from the perspective of, you know, it was evident that it was something that we could have changed. It was evident that it was something that was working, even though they are better in the air than us, and we just left it on and it's gotten the job done. So I think one thing I can't really afford right now is another man to get sent off. So for that reason, Mohamed El Sayed will come on in that centre midfield role. And, you know, it's just about getting some fresh legs on in the middle of the park. So we'll make that one sub now, and we'll look to potentially make another in the last 10-5 minutes or so, because we do have that other centre midfield players on like 69% or something like that. Centre backs are looking a little bit tired as well, but to be fair, they've been pretty solid today, so sometimes you don't really want to shake it up, especially that back 4 defensive line when they're kind of in the zone, feeling organised and stuff. They are getting that ball wide quite a lot, though, down that left-hand side to Yamiogo. Bande with the header, and it's a good catch from Fekri. I think one thing we're going to do, try and nullify that ourselves, is actually go a little bit wider ourselves. We'll drop the tempo, tell them to take a bit more of a breather. And yeah, we can go from there. Does mean we'll start closing down a little bit less as well, but hey, we got a 3-goal lead, so we should be okay. Try and preserve some of our energy. Stand off a little bit more. Be a bit more difficult to break down. Give away stupid goals from positions like that. If you just notice as well, Congo just took a 1-0 lead against Cameroon, which is probably good for us, because I think even though while Congo and Cameroon are two incredibly, wow, what a save that was from the keeper, 2 incredibly strong sides, I think Cameroon are just about better than Congo. So, like I said, I think they're going to be our main opposition for, oh, come on, for top spot. Oh, God. How was that not a penalty? For top spot within the group. So, yeah, for them to potentially lose to Congo would really be fantastic for us. Them dropping points this early on. Oh, hello. Hussein Said. Oh, how's he missed that? That was Messi-esque, that was Messi-esque. And that is what he can do. You know, it's why he plays for Stoke in the Premier League. I think he's got quite a few goals this season. I did get a notification, I remember, saying that he's finally gotten rid of his goal drought. But let's just take a quick look at him. How's he doing? He's valued at 53 million. Only 2 goals in the Premier League so far this season out of 7 appearances. But again, it's October, so only the start of the league. So not a bad start. Not a bad start for him. But obviously, if you take a look at his record previously, he has had Premier League seasons where he's almost gotten 20 goals. Pretty much guaranteed double figures where you're having a decent season. So, you know, that is the type of player that he well and truly is. So let's bring on some fresh legs in the middle of the park. Bring on Nedved, mainly because of his defensive qualities. Yeah. And hopefully now we'll just start to see the game out. We're 3-0 up. I'm not even quite sure why we're still on comprehensive, to be honest. I completely forgot I could change the key highlights. There we go. Congo 2, Cameroon 0. Wow. Great result for Congo. Great result for us as well. But it also could be... Oh, wow, what a goal. Could also be a warning sign for us that we shouldn't by any means underestimate Congo. And I did say at the start of the episode that it kind of feels like it's one of them groups where, wow, on their day, you know, anyone could beat anyone within our group. We can't take anything for granted just because we're Egypt and we're meant to be a good side. But there we go, a really nice convincing 4-0 win against Burkina Faso. Definitely makes up for that shambles of a loss against Mali in the last episode. And, you know, I do to an extent attribute it down to the fact that we played friendlies, we played some of these Cup of Nation qualifier games. That one was pretty early on, and even though we still should have won it, the thing I like about this kind of international management approach is that, well, I mean, you get it with club management as well, but just over time you start to learn more about your national pool and players and stuff like that. And that's one of the things I find difficult about international management, that you have such a massive pool of players to choose from, and sometimes so many gems go unnoticed because at nations like Egypt, your scouts are so bad that I genuinely off camera have to go and search for players and find. Sometimes your scouts will tell you, oh, this is a good player, but he's kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none. Whilst if you're looking for a very specialist role, it might be more beneficial, and you'll see it in performances as well on the pitch, to bring in a player who's maybe not that good on paper, not that good according to your scouts, but in terms of a winger, you know, you might be looking for the more pacey one with a better crossing, whilst your scout would recommend a slightly slower one, slightly less crossing, but better mental attributes and better technical attributes across the board. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video. So next episode is of course going to be the game where we look to get revenge against Mali in our Cup of Nations qualifier game. Now, we're not really playing for much because both us and Mali are basically qualified from the group, but I feel like we've got unfinished business with Mali, and I feel like it would make a pretty good episode. So if you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.